Hello, my name is Miranda from the Australian Centre for Education and Training, also known as ACET-Global, and today I will be talking a little bit about the importance of education and the environment. ACET-Global is an education consultancy aiming to transform businesses, individuals and communities through education. If you'd like to learn more about what we do and why, take a look at the short introductory webinar on our website. In this presentation today, I will be presenting some research undertaken in one project of our Corporate Social Responsibility program. Before we begin, I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we work and live. Here in our Melbourne office, that is the Boonwurrung and Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nations. We recognise their continuing connection to land, water and community, and we pay respects to elders past, present and emerging. So a little bit about me. My name is Miranda. I'm a business relations officer here at ACET-Global. At university, I studied international relations and sociology with a particular interest in environmental policy, management and communication. Some of my hobbies include sport, camping, cooking and travel. This is Daniela. She may be presenting on another day, so I'll introduce her briefly now. She's also a business relations officer, as well as a corporate social responsibility project supervisor here at ACET-Global. At uni, she studied environmental science and she's particularly interested in community engagement and education. Her hobbies include dance, art, and camping. So today, I will be talking specifically about one CSR project of ACET-Global, which is the Global Air Quality Project, or GAQP. Within the GAQP, ACET-Global aims to research and summarise key information about the issue of air pollution and how we can work towards improving air quality in order to improve the health of communities and the environment. In this presentation, I will go through some of this research undertaken by our team. We will first look at what air pollution is, what are the impacts, how many people are being affected, and therefore why it is important to act. After that, we will look at some key solutions and actions which can be taken to improve air quality. These are actions which apply to all different levels of society, from policies which federal governments should implement to individual household actions which cumulatively can make a huge difference. So, what is the problem? Poor air quality is a result of air pollution, which refers to the contamination of an environment by any chemical, physical, or biological agent that modifies the natural characteristics of the atmosphere. When classifying air pollution, it is split into two types. First is ambient, which refers to the air pollution in outdoor environments. Second is household, which is indoor air pollution generated by household fuel combustion. For both of these pollution types, there are three main sources of causes. Anthropogenic, which is air pollution caused by humans. Biogenic, which is pollution from natural living causes, such as dust storms or volcanic eruptions. And geogenic, which is pollution from natural non-living causes, for example, methane from cows' farts. The most common sources of ambient air pollution are from anthropogenic sources, largely emissions caused by combustion processes from motor vehicles, solid fuel burning, and industry. As for household air pollution, the most common sources are fuel burning appliances, tobacco products, certain household cleaning and beauty products, and central heating or cooling systems and humidification devices. These all release toxins into the atmosphere, which can cause varied levels of air pollution. So, what are the impacts? Why does this matter? Well, first, air pollution has many severe direct health impacts. It can cause a variety of serious issues, including respiratory illnesses, heart diseases, cancer, neurological diseases, as well as heart attack and stroke. The high prevalence of air pollution and the widespread of these health impacts has significant societal consequences. In total, air pollution causes approximately 7 million deaths per year. with ambient pollution accounting for 4.2 million of those, and household pollution accounting for 3.8 million. Data from 2017, as shown on this graph here on the right, found air pollution to be the fourth top global cause of death following high blood pressure, smoking, and high blood sugar. Additionally, the World Health Organization found that almost all of the global population, or around 99%, breathe air that exceeds WHO recommended health guideline limits, with low and middle income countries suffering from the highest exposure. This is shown on this world map here of global concentration of fine particulate matter. Moreover, there are several serious environmental impacts of air pollution, including warming of the globe caused by the release of large amounts of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere and therefore contributing to the damaging effects of climate change. Air pollution can also cause damage to the ozone layer, which also speeds up the process of global warming, as well as something called acid rain, which is precipitation containing harmful amounts of nitric and sulfuric acids. Each of these impacts have further impacts, including causing damage to trees, causing soils and water bodies to acidify and face eutrophication, in turn harming ecosystems by making the water unsuitable for wildlife and also damaging crops and agricultural productivity. Finally, these social and environmental impacts of air pollution simultaneously cause various economic costs too. One OECD report of outdoor air pollution from June 2016 estimated that by 2060, global air pollution related healthcare costs will reach $176 billion US. In addition, the annual number of lost working days, which affect labor productivity, are projected to reach 3.7 billion at the global level. The annual global welfare costs associated with the premature deaths from outdoor air pollution are projected to reach 18 to 25 trillion US dollars. The annual global welfare costs associated with pain and suffering from illness are projected to be around US $2.2 trillion. And overall, the market impacts of outdoor air pollution, which include impacts on labor productivity, health expenditures, and agricultural crop yields, are projected to lead to global economic costs that gradually increase to 1% of global GDP by 2060. So, despite the obvious social, environmental, and economic benefits of improving air quality and mitigating those impacts prior mentioned, there remain several key challenges to the implementation of action on air pollution. The most significant of these in Australia is the political and economic argument of the costs associated with climate action, such as the costs of switching to renewable energy and away from the use of fossil fuels. This is largely because the coal and gas mining sector contributes significantly to Australia's economy in exports and employment. At the same time, the industry supports major political parties by often providing political donations to both the Liberal and Labor parties. As a result, politicians have a vested interest to avoid implementing certain policies which might harm the gas and coal industries despite the long-term environmental benefits. However, there are ways to overcome these challenges. One model of doing so is through driving social change, as advocated by the Higher Education Research Institute. They contend that by consciously altering our individual values and actions, we can influence values of the group, the society, and eventually the values of those with more and more power, including governmental policymakers and corporation CEOs, to drive widespread, tangible change. So let's first look at the industry level. What can businesses do to drive action on air pollution and do their bit to improve air quality? This particular model here demonstrates a step process starting from conducting market evaluations of the cost of air pollution and then using those findings to implement quotas and targets to minimize the ambient air pollution produced by that business. For a long-term solution, it is important too for businesses to consider sustainable alternatives to sourcing labor and materials, and eventually embedding air quality consciousness in the culture of the business will lead to sustainable change. Next, let's look at the government. On both federal and state levels, there are many policies which can be implemented, which will have a positive impact on air quality. Policies such as these vary across different sectors. Some include a national ban on the sale of new internal combustion engine, or ICE, vehicles. This is a policy which has been taken up in many other parts of the world, especially in Europe. For example, just in 2020, the UK banned new ICE cars from 2030, and in Norway, they introduced such a policy back in 2016. Other policy areas like urban planning and land management will be especially important too for considering long-term solutions which combat air pollution. This may include expanding public transport networks and improving bicycle lanes and accessibility. Finally, arguably most importantly, however, for improving air quality, is implementing policy to cut down on our greenhouse gas emissions. And the key way to do so will be in expanding the use of renewable energy sources and moving away from using fossil fuels. Victoria's Renewable Energy Action Plan provides a valuable case study of a progressive government policy which works to improve air quality by expanding renewable energy. The plan was launched in 2017 and pledged $146 million in funding to increase renewable energy generation by 40% by 2025. It has been praised by environmentalists such as Al Gore for its progressiveness. The plan emphasized an expansion on wind power particularly and predicted key economic benefits too, such as creating 11,000 new jobs. In the 2020 to 21 Victorian budget, the action plan was backed by $1.6 billion in funding. Another interesting example of governmental policy with a direct impact on air quality is the Launceston wood heater replacement program from 2001 to 2003 in Tasmania, Australia. Tasmania has the cleanest air quality in the world, yet in Launceston, domestic wood heaters and open fires account for approximately 82% of air pollution in winter times. This has significant health impacts. In all of Tasmania, in 2021, the mixture of pollutants from wood heaters smoke caused 74% of all hospital admissions, deaths, and asthma attacks linked to biomass burning. It was also estimated to be costing the Tasmanian government 293 million Australian dollars per year from the impacts of wood heaters. The Launceston wood heater replacement program implemented in 2001 aimed to address this issue. The program used a combination of information provision and awareness raising and a targeted education program to locate poorly operated wood heaters and to encourage users to learn better combustion and maintenance procedures, as well as encouraging changeover to cleaner forms of heating. The program was largely considered a success, as wood heater prevalence dropped from 66 to 30%, resulting in lower levels of air pollution in Launceston. The odd-even scheme in Delhi, India is another interesting case study of government policy action. Delhi, on the other hand to Tasmania, is one of the world's most polluted cities, which is largely caused by its road dust and transport emissions. Air pollution is the second leading risk factor of death in India, killing 1.645 million people in 2018, while Delhi has the highest death rate. In Delhi, the percentage of non-smokers who had lung cancer increased from 10% in 1998 to 50% in 2018. Delhi also has the highest economic cost per capita from polluted air among the Indian cities at 62%, and financial loss has exceeded US $8 billion, equivalent to 13% of its GDP. In response, the odd-even scheme was introduced by the Delhi government in 2016. It is a traffic rationing measure under which private vehicles with registration numbers ending with an odd digit are only allowed on roads on odd dates, and those with an even digit on even dates. This has been a policy implemented in various areas of the world at different times of history, including, for example, in China ahead of the 2008 Olympics, and in the US in 2012, as well as in Mexico, France, and Rome, often used to combat air pollution or also high oil prices and limited gasoline availability. In Delhi, since 2016, the scheme has successfully resulted in a drop in air pollution as well as additional benefits, including relieving traffic congestion. Now, the final example of governmental policy that we will look at today is the Paris Climate Agreement of 2015. The Paris Agreement is an intergovernmental agreement amongst 196 countries to limit their national greenhouse gas emissions. The agreement was created to mitigate the effects of climate change and avoid a global warming of 2 degrees Celsius, yet it would simultaneously have significant positive impacts for air quality. The agreement was considered a groundbreaking advancement of climate action, largely because of its ability to establish global recognition for the importance of minimizing greenhouse gas emissions, and from its success in bringing most countries of the world together to commit to being held accountable for their actions and for reaching their emissions reduction targets. However, the tangible success of the policy has been debated, with many experts saying that the non-binding nature of the agreement, as well as the self-determined emissions reduction targets, are not sufficient for avoiding a 2-degree global temperature increase. So, therefore, overall, it's very important that we, as global citizens, continue to demand governmental and intergovernmental policies which will have a positive impact on air quality. Finally, as individuals, there are actions we can take to minimize our contribution to air pollution. For example, to improve our household air quality, we can take certain measures, such as avoiding use of household products which produce VOCs. VOCs are volatile organic compounds, which are carbon-based chemicals that easily evaporate at room temperature. Common household materials and products that produce VOCs may include paints and cleaning products, so avoiding them is the way to go. Additionally, ensuring proper use of wood heating is important, or rather opting for alternative cleaner heating systems. And introducing indoor plants can be a great way to naturally filter the air. As for improving ambient air quality on an individual level, we can directly make a difference by changing our travel style, especially reducing our ICE vehicle usage, such as by using public transport, carpooling, cycling, and walking instead. It is also important to note that as individuals, we can minimize our indirect impact on air pollution by minimizing our personal carbon footprint and total greenhouse gas emissions. There are many actions we can take, ranging from having a small to large impact to do this. Some include switching to renewable energy sources like rooftop solar panels, adopting a vegetarian diet, and avoiding single-use items. This graph here shows more actions that we can take to reduce our carbon footprint. Finally, overall, conceptualizing the gravity and scale of topics like air pollution and climate change can be difficult, and as individuals, we can sometimes feel overwhelmed. Eco-anxiety is the worry about current and future harm to the environment caused by human activity, and it's something you may feel or encounter at some point. I definitely have. There are resources online to help with this, including from psychologistsforasafeclimate.org and from the Australian Conservation Foundation that can help provide perspective when encountering these feelings. It's important, though, to remind ourselves of the real power of individual action, because through everyday choices, you can actively help in improving air quality. Through not only reforming our own actions to reduce our personal contribution to air pollution, but by also consciously exercising our consumer power and democratic voting power, we can support others who support the planet. The earth we live on is home to us all, and we should all be conscious of the impact we leave for not only us, but for those around us and those to come. So thank you for listening. I hope that from this presentation, you learn a bit more about action for improving air quality and the importance of mitigating air pollution. We encourage you to look at resources on our website and online and further educate yourselves and others by discussing these important topics with those around you. If you'd like to intern at ACET-Global and contribute toward research on our CSR projects, including that of the Global Air Quality Project, please reach out to us through our email on our website. We would love to have you. Thank you.